My name is Fritz Below. I was actually born and raised right here in Port Clinton, Ohio. But I remember growing up and going through middle school and high school and just dreaming all the time of when I would leave this city and I would never have to come back because there's just nothing here. So 18 came and went to college, kind of went back and forth from college to home, and then finally when I was married in 2001, we moved on down to Mansfield, and we never looked back. So I ended up hooking up with a friend of mine, and we had made the commitment we were going to start planting churches around the Cleveland area, and we were just going to, establish these Sunday morning churches and just reach as many people as we possibly could. About 2 months later, we ended up getting connected with NEO360 through Guy Stevens, and he invited us to participate in a program called Launch. Before that, he invited us to an event called One, and I remember being there on a Friday morning, and we were singing some song, I don't remember what it was, but all of a sudden the Holy Spirit started almost downloading pictures into my mind, and they were of Port Clinton, and they were pictures of the beautiful areas, the drawbridge and the boats and the coastlines and the resort areas and these beautiful places. As each picture came, they started to come quicker and quicker, and it began to cross over from the beautiful places of Port Clinton to the broken places of Port Clinton, the places where I knew poverty was, the places where I knew broken homes were, the places where I knew drug use was rampant and crazy, the place where I knew people who couldn't find work no matter how hard they tried were, and they were scraping to get by. And these images just began to flood through my mind and my spirit, and it got to be so overwhelming. I just broke down and started crying in the second row of this conference. I can imagine everybody else around me going, "Oh, that guy's getting blessed by the song, oh, that's wonderful." But what God was doing was breaking my heart for a city that I said I would never come back to. So after that, I began going to Launch on Thursday nights with NEO360. It was about the third night we were there, and Guy had us write down the things that we believed broke God's heart in our cities that we were planting churches. And I was looking to plant churches in Elyria and Sheffield Lake and North Olmsted and Westlake, and I began to realize I didn't know anything about these places, and everybody else is writing furiously about these things that break God's heart and how God would redeem them and what they would look like, and I didn't have anything. I sat there for 10 minutes and my page is just blank, and all of a sudden I heard the Holy Spirit say, why don't you write for Port Clinton? And so I took a chance, and in 5 minutes my entire page was full, and I couldn't fit any more on the page. And so my dream is really not just to see individuals' lives change, but to see an entire city restored. Every time I talk with some of my friends who have moved out of Port Clinton, have moved on to Columbus or Cincinnati, or they've moved out to California or New York City, they talk about the fact that they never realized how much of a little hole in the wall the city of Port Clinton was. But I just don't think that's all it could ever be. I think that God has a bigger dream for Port Clinton than to be a little hole on the side of Ohio that people go fish at and drink at, and that's it. And so we want to see God do some major restoration work here, and we believe we can, or we wouldn't be